Akron Running Project. I'm Nicole David from the 46 Running Club, and today I am joined with
Coach Rachel from Run Well, Be Well.
And today we get to interview one of the pillars of the Akron running community, Teresa Ferguson.
Not only is she an amazing runner, which you'll hear all about her in a few minutes, but she's also a registered dietitian for the Summit County Health Department and a mother of 3 children.
She's pretty awesome, so stay tuned. You're going to want to watch this one. Hi there. Okay, we are here with Teresa Ferguson, and we're just going to get to know her a little bit better today. We're going to start by digging deep and going all the way back to when she first started running. So,
gosh, should we go back to the playgrounds of Turkeyfoot Elementary School?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I was always tried to race anybody at school so I could prove I was the fastest runner. And there was a new boy that came to school, and this was in 4th grade, and his name was Dwayne. And he thought he could certainly beat a girl. And we went out during recess, and all the kids lined up, and somebody screamed "go!" and we raced, and I beat him. And poor
awesome.
kid, I just think, man, it'd be awful being a new child coming to school and a girl beat you. But yeah, but then I was humbled later on. Then when I went in middle school, and I was in Springfield School District at that time, and I remember being in track, and the entire season I ran the half mile, and I came in last place every single time until finally the last meet I got second to last place.
Oh my
I
goodness.
was so happy I wasn't in last
Oh my
place.
goodness. Were you racing older kids? I can't imagine you ever coming in last
Yeah,
place.
no, yeah, I'm sure. Some were 7th, 8th, and 9th. That's what the middle school was. And then I never stopped running after 7th grade. I just kept on running. And then so in 8th grade, then I came back, and of course I did a lot better. And then all through high school, raced and got to travel. I got to travel with there was something called the Bonneville Striders. And it was a program, I know in Hudson was where the coach was, and he took like the local better runners, and then we traveled to various places, and the national meet was held throughout the United States, but the particular year that I ran it, the Nationals was held in Cincinnati, Ohio.
You got lucky there.
Oh boy. And I remember that meet very specifically, that it was so cold that we're racing this 5K, and I remember for at least like a week it felt like I swallowed razor blades because it was so frigid cold, and to breathe that cold air in, because it's not too often that we really race when it's sub-zero or it's not close to that, that we're racing. We train a lot obviously, but not where we're racing. And so the breathing in that full lung, it hurts so bad for the longest time. But it's funny because like years later when my sister was running for them, their nationals was in like Oregon, and then the next year she got to go to Colorado, and I got to go to Cincinnati, Ohio. So, but then like Kenya, Africa was another place I got to go to in high school. They had an international sports exchange in which they invited some of the local better runners from Pennsylvania, Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio. And then we all met up in New York, and then we flew to Kenya, and then we got to run against the Kenyans. And it was kind of like to promote international, like good politics kind of stuff. And we went to like the American Embassy, and they talked all about Kenya there. And then in Nairobi, which is where we originally met, it's at high altitude. And I remember going out with my good friend Mary Louise, who also went on this international sports exchange. She was also in the Bonneville Striders, so we got to know each other very well. And it's funny because like at the high school level, we were very competitive against each other, but we were also very good friends. And I think that was my first experience of being not only competitive with somebody, but also good friends. And we're great friends to this day. Yes, her one daughter just graduated from high school, and they had their party yesterday. And it's just funny how you look through all the years of what a running friendship becomes.
Oh yeah.
And so anyway, going back to Kenya, we raced against the Kenyans, and I was 18 at that time, my senior in high school. and I only beat one Kenyan, and she was 12.
That's fantastic.
And she ran with no shoes on.
Oh my
Yeah, it's
God.
like all the Kenyan girls, because I think they were all very young ladies. And it was such an amazing experience. But I mean, if my parents knew what we were doing along the way, they never would have let us go. Because
Really?
it was dangerous in some respects. I hate to say that, but I lived kind of a sheltered life, and it was a little less sheltered than my parents would have preferred.
I'm sure.
So,
A little bit different than Portage Lakes, Ohio. Right?
yeah, for sure. So, and then from there, then I went to Edinburgh University and raced for Edinburgh in cross country, indoor track and outdoor track.
Mm-hmm.
And that was 4 years there, and that was an amazing experience too. And competition just different in college versus high school, because in high school you can dominate in high school, and then you get in, it's like this little pool of fish, and then you get to the bigger pool of fish, and then you realize, I was kind of good in high school, and yeah. So I did luck out, and I did make All-American in cross country. I never did in track though. So, and I had made All-State in high school a few times in like the two mile, I think once maybe. And then in cross country, I certainly did. I got to get up on the podium, and it's a lot different now versus how they do all the race results now in high school. So, but yeah, and so I've always been competitive and enjoyed racing. It's not been something that I, dreaded or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I think a lot of people that look at runners, they just think that you're competing against other people. They don't really realize how much we compete against ourselves. It's always really ultimately against ourselves. And and the other thing too is how often it is that you can be running against somebody who's just as equally as good as you. And the end results always depend on who really wants it that day, who really, really wants to go out there and put themselves out there and feel the most pain or whatever it is. And certainly it kind of depends on how good we're feeling that specific day. I mean, everything has to be lined up. So, but in college, it was also very hard too, racing at that level, because the academics were always the most important for me, even in high school. I remember I know I keep skipping back and forth from college to high school, but in high school, the last year I was a senior in high school, the school levy didn't pass. And they canceled all the athletics. And that was just devastating, because I was determined I was going to break the 11 minute 2 mile.
Yes.
I think my best time was 11 minutes and 16 seconds for the 2 mile, which might still be held at Springfield High School, I'm not sure.
We're going to have to look into that.
Yeah, I have to look in there and check that out. But I didn't get to run my senior year. And they had offered, if you want to go to Coventry and run for Coventry, but then I'm thinking, well, why would I want to go graduate for Coventry? Not that anything's wrong with Coventry, but you're invested in Springfield. And the Beacon Journal, I felt so bad in some respects, because the Beacon Journal threw me on the front page of the newspaper saying in big bold caption, "All I want to do is run." And like an Esquire, front page. Everybody was like, I saw it and I about wanted to die. I mean, can you imagine a poor high school kid?
We're going to have to dig that up.
Yeah, do you still have a copy of that?
I might.
But today in 2020, can you imagine that still being, still accurate right now? I just want to run a race.
Yes.
It's crazy.
For sure.
Yeah, and high school seniors all over right now are experiencing the same thing.
Come full
And they
circle.
are, and they are, because I really wanted to break that. I wanted to prove to at that time it was really Bowling Green. I was looking into with Mary Louise, my good friend, who she did end up going to Bowling Green. But then I was thinking about another one down in North Carolina, but I ended up going to Edinburgh when it all was said and done, because we had purchased our horse, and I didn't want to be that far away the one down in North Carolina. So it was a good decision, because I was so horribly homesick. It's like I loved college in some respects, but I hated being so far away from home. I mean, I think I had a good family, and I missed everybody so horribly bad. And you never want to admit that. You know, you go away to college, you know, this big cool freshman, and you don't want to say that. Oh, I want to be home, and that's how I felt. So, but I mean, it was a neat experience being there, and the one regret I will have in life is that I had redshirted a season because I had pulled a groin muscle, and so coach had taken me out. His name was Doug Watts. Took me out of cross country season and track season. I'm not quite sure why, if it happened at the end of cross country. I don't know, but anyway, I ended up redshirting both seasons, and so he had a whole year of eligibility. That technically I was supposed to stay and represent Edinburgh, and you know, looking back on that now, I'm thinking, man, he must have wanted to wring my neck, because I got a graduate assistantship offered out at Ball State University for grad school, and I jumped ship. You know, I was out of there. And I look back on that now with such horrible regret. Why did I do that? And it's like, you know, I was tired. I was tired of competing at that level. I was tired of the academics. It was very hard. And, you know, we had a dietetic program, and it was like a 5-year program done in 4 years, and then competing at the same time. It was a lot. It was, when I look back again at the stress level, putting on a college athlete, people don't always realize that either. When you're in a very strong academic world, and then you're being pulled, you know, in all different directions, it's hard, because like I'd get up and I'd have to be at the hospital at like 7 in the morning. I'd already had run earlier than that, and I'm at, you know, we had to drive like half an hour to the hospital. And then in the evening times, I might have evening classes, or worse yet, because Edinburgh didn't have an indoor track at that time, I'd have to go and have our track practice would be at 10 o'clock at night after the basketball players were done running around the gym. I mean, and it was just insane when I look back at that kind of stuff. So I can also appreciate and understand why I was like, you know, I'm just kind of tired. I want to go. And the program I went into at Ball State was called Wellness Management, which is basically health promotion today. And it just, it was wonderful. I mean, it was a good way to kind of develop that more rounded feeling inside, because it's easy, and I think most distance runners can get very caught up in that, like that all or nothing thinking, where you gotta run, you know, you have it 8 miles on the schedule, you better run all 8, versus listening to your body and running 6. And when we wouldn't do that, God forbid, we don't listen to, you know, what the schedule says.
Don't do that.
Yeah. So I think that really helped to look at everything and to realize that it wasn't just physical wellness. It's also, you know, the emotional, it's the total balance. And I think that was probably the best thing I could have done for me as a person. So it did take me a while to finish my thesis. So I left, and it took me a bit longer than I think I would have liked, but it is what it is. But I did finish it, so that's all that matters. And then I didn't compete that much in my, like after graduate school. And even in graduate school, I didn't compete. You know, I raced or ran a lot. I did some races in graduate school, but it wasn't like I didn't hunker for it. I just didn't really hunker for it. And then, you know, I came back and started the full-time job routine like most people do, and always ran. You know, that was just part of who I was. And I did do one marathon. I think I was 26. I did the Cleveland Marathon. And I just look at the silliness of my training at that time. I ran a 3:16:11 with basically no training. And I look at that, I know, and I'm just thinking, wow. I mean, gosh, if I would have been trained properly, it would have been so much faster. But again, that's where my life was at the time, and I was thrilled to have done it. And I also remember that race being, oh gosh, it must have been mile like 20-ish, that my legs felt like just like rocks. It was horrible. And then somehow we got over some like little hill or whatever, and then all of a sudden I felt great again, and then kept on going. And then I got something in the mail saying I ended up like second place in my age group, because they took out one of the invited people at Cleveland. And so, and again, I was so naive about everything. I'm like, they invite people to the marathon? Really? Yeah. So I had no understanding of that. So, and then honestly, I didn't get back into racing truly until my third child, and I was almost 41. Yeah, so then I got back into the racing, and the first race was the Jeep Davis, and they had, instead of tearing your numbers off, they actually made you wear something around your ankle. And I never got it. And so I'm like, afterwards, I think I did really well in the race, and they called up somebody else. I'm like, well, I got that place. How come I didn't? And I got disqualified.
Oh no, you didn't wear it.
I didn't wear this silly little ankle bracelet. I was like, wow, welcome to the modern days of technology. So anyway, but then I just started racing, and then the Subway had all their
challenge series.
The challenge series. So that was great. I mean, it was competitive. I mean, the races, they were really competitive. We had some awesome runners around Ohio. And they recognized masters, and I was now over 40. So it was, that's really got it exciting. And then they had the original Canton Marathon, not the Hall of Fame. God forbid we put those two together, because they are not.
They are not the same.
No, they're not the same. And I remember I possibly being invited, and maybe you're the one that had mentioned it, from Brian Poland.
Maybe, I don't remember. I remember, though, crying my eyes out after you finished that, after I found out. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I remember Sean Freeman, who took me around the course for this original Canton Marathon.
Yes.
And I remember crying, thinking, oh my gosh, it's so hilly. I'll just never be able to run 26 miles around this hilly course. I'm going to die. And
I think most runners can relate to that. I'm going to die.
Yeah, and then that race went off, and I started, and I could remember specific areas, even this many years later, running that course and feeling so good. And then when I finished, and I hate to say I don't remember what my finish time was, but it was good enough to feel like I can be invited to the Akron Marathon now, And so, but what was I going to say? Oh yes, and then that night I had a dream that I skipped part of the course. I'm like, no wonder I ran so fast. Thankfully it wasn't true, but I think that. So, and then now getting into really being very competitive with some of the real invited runners that were higher level, and then thinking, wow, I mean, because I never really feel like I'm that good of a runner, because I just know, every race we run, we're only good at where we are right now. We're only as good as where we are right now. And I realize again, the older you get too, the more risk of injuries. You run that fine line of being really good to being very injured and not running at all. And then to try to build that back up after an injury. Because in 2013, I did something to my foot, and I don't think I had the right treatment. I didn't go to Dr. Cormanek. I didn't get what I should have gotten at the get-go. So the injury was much more prolonged. And even though I was off, I was biking and swimming like an insane person, it was just like 8 weeks of nothing. And that was, again, 2013, when we went to Boston and picked up my packet there, and of course all the horrible stuff. Oh, I'm so glad I wasn't, though, when all the bombing happened. I'm glad that it just wasn't meant to be. But I remember beginning to run after that, and after 8 weeks off, and I realized it's no wonder people hate running. This hurts. This is just awful.
It does.
I mean, why did people do it? Why was this ever fun? This is awful. So, but thankfully that was just a brief moment, and I was back to really enjoying it again. But it was a few runs of not feeling like it was all together. And but I mean, I run because I love to run, and I love to run because I love to run and talk with people. And I think I'm enjoying running so much differently now than even years before. I think I'm running not just because I want to run and because I can run. It just offers me so much more for me, and yet I don't ever want to feel like it's like something I want to do all the time by myself. I mean, I thoroughly love the social events of it. It's just fun. It's fun to talk with other people who had the same mindset.
Oh yeah.
You know, we're not weird. We're just runners.
We're not weird to each other. Everybody else thinks we are, but yeah. I think Israel actually put it best in the last interview, and he said, he was like, that was my selfish time. That's my social hour, is getting to be with your friends, and you are a little bit selfish taking that time. I know you both have children, so you kind of sacrifice that time, but I think you need that to make yourself feel normal, and you need those like just an hour in the morning, or like you guys meet at 5 o'clock in the morning and go for your run, but you need that time to feel sane for the rest of your day. And
Right. Yeah. And you don't get this yet, but just wait. Your children will stay up later and sleep in later. So,
Yes. I can't wait.
So that's a good part about having young children a little bit older. Yeah. So I mean, that's where I am right now. Just
Well, and it's
enjoying.
crazy to think that you didn't start competing at the level that you're at now until you were 41, and so now you are 50, 52. Okay, 52 now, and I mean, at a higher level, like we both aspire to be anywhere near there, and it's just crazy how you have just been able to like defy age. You just, I mean, your PRs have dropped like crazy, and you just have been on a surge. I mean, and your range is 5K to 50K now, and I mean, it's crazy how well you've been able to do. I mean, no matter what the distance is.
Well, but let's clarify that though. My PRs, I only look at after the age of 40.
Yes,
Because
okay,
I'll never run like I did in college.
Yes, college is a little bit different.
I mean, my college days, I really wish I knew what my record for the half marathon was in college. I wish I could wonder if Coach Watts would have that, result somewhere. I'd love to know what was
I
my
wonder if we can dig
fastest.
that up.
Yeah, because even again, this is the olden days where they didn't have
It
everything
was
on the
on the
computer.
internet. Yeah, I know. That part's hard.
Yeah, so I do wonder, and like even my 5K times and stuff, what was I really racing back then?
Well, do you remember? Do you know what was your 5K PR? You don't remember?
No, because I was too busy studying college stuff. I was one of those weird people that we'd go on all the trips, and I had my nose in the books, and I was.
As soon as the race was over.
Oh yeah, I didn't. Yeah, isn't that sad? I mean, I couldn't even have told you half our running schedule.
Really?
No, because I was too busy studying. Yeah, that was coach's job. All I had to do was show up and race as hard as I could race. The rest of it was my job was to study and to get good grades.
That's funny.
Isn't that? I mean, yeah. Again, I still have dreams though about missing the bus. When I trips forgetting my uniform.
Oh my
Oh
god.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I know probably a lot of runners out there because a lot of people still have those dreams about like you missed the finish line. And I'm sorry, you missed the start line. And so you're like trying to get there, and you're like the race has already started, and then you do wake up and you're like, okay, good, it's only 4 a.m. I'm not there yet. It's fine, but that's funny. So so then current day PR, so from 41 now, so what's your 5K PR?
Oh, I think it's like 1846.
awesome.
Yeah, I did that down in Canton. I had to ask Jim Cheney, was this course legit? Was this really legit? I want to know.
And we all know Jim Cheney is very good at course
So,
measuring.
Yeah, so that's the best one there. Gosh, what are my 5K and 10K times? Well, all I know is my 10K times are definitely not under 40 minutes, which I find so sad.
That's
I know,
crazy.
isn't that sad?
Yeah.
I know. It should be. It should be. And then like my half marathon was like 127 down in Parkersburg, in some change. I don't
Yeah,
remember
but
specifically.
on a very hilly course.
Yeah, another
yeah.
hilly course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then 3:03:21 for the marathon at Akron.
Mhm.
So
At another
Again,
hill.
the hilly course.
yeah, so why Akron? Why don't I want to go to a flat marathon? I love Akron.
We
I
literally
love
ask her that all the time.
Every year.
I love the camaraderie.
Yeah.
I love being here in Akron.
Mhm.
I mean, there's just the cheering, the crowd, they're just everywhere. They're everywhere.
Oh yeah.
How can you go to another marathon and expect anything better than Akron?
Mhm.
I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to Boston and
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people want to go to Boston. I don't want to take away from somebody's, bucket list.
Mhm.
But for me, I mean, I've been there and I don't really feel like I have a need to go back.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just too many people, shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
And it takes, first half marathon before you have any space. And
Right.
I just,
Well, and you don't have all your friends and family at,
Yes.
you know,
Your
Yes.
hometown race.
at each little, mile marker wherever,
Right.
because at Akron, everybody knows you're from here, so everybody can get to the different spots and be able to see you and have your,
Yeah.
big sign or your fat head and.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing like having Riley, my son, say,
Right.
"That's my mom."
While you're leading. Yeah.
That's great.
That's pretty
Yeah.
fun.
So-
So, well, that was going to be one of the questions.
Yeah.
Your proudest race moment, and I'm going to assume it's probably at Akron. But what was your proudest moment of racing?
Gosh. I did so many things, so many races flash through my head. I don't know if I have a proudest. I just say the high, the joy of finishing strong and feeling good, and perhaps even being surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know like in 2017, that was certainly a most challenging year to be able to come through and at the Akron Marathon, and I didn't think I'd place top masters, and to have been able to go through that finish line and find out, to have the lanyard put over my shoulders and I got third, and I was like, really? I got third? That was absolutely thrilling, because that was a tough year, and
It was, yeah.
and I was able to be okay with everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's important.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and that was, we trained with you. I'm going to get all emotional now. We trained with you a lot that year, and it was not easy, but it just shows how tough you were.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you were amazing. You were stronger than I think you thought possible.
Yeah.
And to be able to come through and run that race and do what you did, that was,
Yes.
after the summer you had, that was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's just another example of how running helps so many people, especially I could say for myself,
Mhm.
to keep me together,
Yeah.
to be able to process stressful things, and then to have the friends that you can just vent and unload, and even if nothing is said back, it's to be able to hear it out loud and to be acknowledged. And running is therapy on so many different levels.
Mhm.
And there's things that are said out running that may not ever be said anywhere else.
Right. Mhm.
And I think we're very fortunate. We're very blessed to be able to have that ability, to have friends like this.
Mhm.
And and I'm sure that I was able to be as strong as I was because of you guys. And I mean, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a lot. If you care to share, I mean, you can always
Yeah.
cut it out if you don't want to, or
Yeah.
if you're comfortable.
Yeah, that was a year that my husband took his life, and it was just very, very, very difficult summer, and he had made attempts, and just my whole world was turned upside down, and it was just a constant, the chest pains and everything. And I think that running was about the only way to let loose some of that anxiety and stress.
Yeah.
And if anybody's ever gone through that, they know that it's beyond any imaginable stress that you think you could even live through.
Mhm.
And and somehow I've managed to, and
Yeah.
and that's what at the end of the marathon, and I got that lanyard put over my head, I said, I can finally breathe now,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it wasn't that many days after it happened.
Mhm.
Now, my fastest, my fastest 5K post 40 was the same day as his memorial service.
Oh my goodness! I remember
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
and I couldn't believe when I was racing it, and I felt so aware of what was going on around me and the power I had in my body, and saying something, to my husband, saying, I can just feel you right here with me.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Wow.
I never felt like there wasn't the energy. It
Mhm.
just kept going through me stronger and stronger and
Mhm.
stronger. That was one heck of a fast
Yeah.
5K
Yeah.
for somebody, yeah.
Especially for on a day like that, and to be able to see, that's what I mean. I mean, just how strong you are. You just not even with that day, that particular day, or with what you dealt with that summer. I just think your mental strength is like unmatched. I mean,
Oh yeah, you see Teresa through a finish line. You see the grit and determination on her face.
Yes.
It's just exploding.
Yes.
It's all there.
Yes, and you're always so smiling, so happy. But if you see her in a race, she is fierce, and she'll look at you, and she's in race mode. So
Yeah.
you can't like interrupt her. And you can scream in her face, but she's in race mode. So yeah, you're very inspiring that way, because I know people yell at me, and I'm like having a conversation with them while I'm talking. I am in no race mode. I'm just like, I feel terrible, and you're like, shut up, don't even talk to me. I'm racing. Yeah, you're pretty tough that way. Tough little cookie.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, and thank you for sharing that, because I know that wasn't easy, but that does give people a glimpse of, it's not always like, oh, she was just born a fast runner and she's just always been a good runner, and oh yeah, I've seen her, I know that she can run fast, but there's a lot of other stuff that goes on that people don't get to see that side of you, and then realize, like, oh, I think back to 2017 and remember seeing her and like, oh my God, I can't believe what had happened to her that year, and like to see how incredibly fast she ran, and like how determined and strong it was. I was really impressive.
3 weeks after it happened.
Yeah.
And they're racing.
To train all through that
Yeah,
and
to train all through.
everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I did all that training.
It was probably a blur.
I don't know how. Yeah.
But you needed it. That's how.
It's probably therapeutic.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Running is like
And
that.
to be fortunate not to get sick
Yeah.
at any time.
Yeah.
Because your body can only take so much stress before it eventually gives out.
I know.
So.
Wow.
So. Right.
Well, on a little happier note, we will get to some funny things. Sabrina wanted me to ask.
Oh no! No birthdays today.
Yes. For while you're training, what are some of your favorite training workouts and some of your least favorite training workouts?
My favorite ones are anyone with Sabrina.
Yeah.
She's so good.
Yeah.
I love it because I just show up and say, so what are we running? And the mathematician that she is, she's got everything broken down, and she'll detail things out. I'll be like, okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
I think my least favorite workouts, oh man, you know what, probably anything where I've stayed up too late and don't get enough sleep.
Yeah.
Seriously, because sleep is so essential.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't stand when I'm trying to get up and do something that I have no business doing because I should be sleeping. So, but yeah, track workouts always rather intimidating. I'm not very good at them, and I
I beg to differ.
Right, I know. Thinking the same thing.
they always feel good when you're done.
Yeah.
It's always better when it's done.
Yeah.
And the favorite workouts, gosh, I kind of like just faster tempo runs with hills. Like when we did the course out there in Clinton.
Oh yes.
You run to the wall.
Run to the wall.
Yes, that's such a good course. Yeah. See, but Edinburgh, Edinburgh was like that, so hilly, and it was so great. So I kind of been groomed to like hills.
Yeah, you do like hills. I will tell a funny story that one time, the three of us, and then we had a couple other joiners too, it was freezing cold, and I don't know if it was snowy or icy out, but we decided to take our 20-mile long run to the treadmill. So we all met at Snap Fitness in Portage Lakes and got on the treadmills at like 6 in the morning, and we're next to each other. And I'm not kidding you, I was okay with just running 20 miles on the treadmill, but this one over here, every couple of minutes she'd be like, oh, I see a hill! And then she'd jack up the incline, and I'm like, I don't know what hill you see, I'm staying this way, I don't see any hills. And she loved it. She would go up to like a 5% incline, and she's just running her little hill, and I'm like, no, we're not, no way. So she does love hills. I think she just likes the torture.
Yeah.
That was a fun day,
But
though.
usually up means down.
Yeah, but not on a treadmill, you don't get the down.
No, you don't.
The up and down are good around here or in Akron somewhere, but yeah, not on a treadmill. You don't get the downhill at all. Okay, this is another good one. What kind of advice do you have for beginner runners? Coach Rachel over here has a lot of people who are training under her now that are brand new to this, or found themselves in the same kind of position that you did, where they've had kids and now they're just like, I'm going to start something. Running just happened to be it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what's
I
your
think
advice?
shoes. I think number one thing is I think you need to be fitted by somebody who knows about running shoes. Because everybody's feet are different and you need to have decent running shoes. So that I would say, go to a running store, have them help you out. You know, there's so many great people at Second Soul. I mean, they're going to, help you find the right shoes for your feet. So that would be the first thing I'd say. Secondly, if it's possible, try to find somebody who wants to run with you. And especially like a lot of the women, it's so much safer when we're running with other people, not to run alone. And if you have to run alone, especially if you're choosing to run in the evening time, have reflective garb on and don't ever trust the car.
Yeah.
I mean, I just,
Yeah,
it
that's huge.
unnerves me when I see people running in the dark or close to dusk, and they're running more in the road, and they don't have the reflective garb on, but you should never trust the cars. I mean, we should always be on, off the road if we can.
Yeah.
So, and when you see the car giving you the wide girth, you realize, oh, they must be running.
Yeah. That's funny. Did you think that too?
Thank you.
Okay, so I know that you guys train a lot together in the mornings. I don't like to get up that early. They go at like 5 a.m., 5:15. What does a day in the life of Teresa Ferguson look like?
You mean a regular old work day where we get up and are done?
Work day and a weekend.
All right. So usually it's up early, like depending if we're meeting at the track or the state park, then I might get up at 4:10, be at the park or the track at 5, and then get home a little bit before 7, and then off to work till 4, and then home to see how much I can get done on the house. If I don't have to make dinner, it's the best thing in the whole world. I don't like to cook, and I openly admit that. I'm a dietitian, and I can't stand cooking. But yeah, I do a lot of yard work. I've got a big hill to mow, and lots of yard to mow, lots of stones to move, and lots of wood to sand and stain, and and that's what my weekend. That's what my weekends are like. I mean, inevitably I'm outside a lot doing the outside stuff, and then in the wintertime when there isn't all the outside stuff, it's just 20 years of living in the same house in which antiques need to be I need to get rid of those. So there's a lot, and not to mention that I have 3 children that have to be taken places, and so, but no, there's the sports events on the weekends for the children, but with COVID, I don't know what's going to happen, so, so it might be going to a basketball game for somebody to cheer, or, it just depends on who needs to go where, and who needs what from the store, so, the mommy job never ends.
No.
So, but that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. So, but they're very understanding and tolerant of the running. But I do try to get home before them, before they get up, before they wake up. I mean, that's almost always the case.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have this fantasy world that they'll someday want to run with me, and or at least maybe do some weights in the weight room, but so far that really hasn't happened. I think my son's run with me twice, maybe 3 times.
Yeah.
So that's okay. We're allowed to have our own interests.
Exactly. That's funny. Okay, so this was an interesting one. Think about this, it's when you're at mile 20 of the marathon, things start to hurt, although it could be mile 20 of the marathon, it could be like mile 2 of a 5K, but things start to hurt. What is the mantra that you go to, that you tell yourself in your head? Is there something that you keep repeating to yourself just to get yourself to the finish line?
well, if I divulge all this, am I not getting rid of my great secrets?
Okay, don't tell me. Not like the magic word, but maybe like a hint or a generic
All right,
form
I'll
of
get a
it.
generic one.
Yeah.
No, first off, I think that each race, no matter who you are, it could happen at mile 12 in the marathon
Yeah,
Saturday.
true. Yeah.
And your feelings at that point in time are a heck of a lot different than if it's happening at mile 22.
Right.
I mean, you have to deal with things differently, and oftentimes in the marathon, you're revamping your whole entire goal.
Yeah.
So your original goal gets thrown out the window, and you have to go to your second or third
Yeah.
goal. In like the 5K, gosh, you only have a mile left, for heaven's sake. Just, give it your all and finish.
Yeah.
By golly, it hurt
By
in
golly.
the first 10 feet into that race.
Right.
Which is why, I don't equally like racing 5Ks, because it hurts from the very second the gun goes off. But I do think that I try to really think about the race before I race, and try to think about different strategies the whole time. Because, there's a humongous difference between a 5 mile and a half marathon.
Oh, yeah.
And, but when a race is good, it feels so good. Yeah.
Did you have some questions for her?
Yeah. What is your favorite race distance?
A half marathon.
Oh, yeah?
And why is that?
Because I think it's long enough to give somebody who doesn't have the leg speed some advantage, and it's short enough that you don't leave it all out on the course.
Yeah.
There's just like nutritionally, it's a little different. A lot of times you don't need any nutrition along the way for a half marathon. Water, depending on the temperatures, certainly. But it's just different. You don't have to worry about that as much on a half. And you can recover so much faster.
Yeah.
So you can run many more of those than the marathon. Because the marathon is you're putting all your eggs in one basket for one specific race that, you're not going to recover from it probably faster than my age, like 6 months. Somebody else might be like Arlen,
True.
next weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's still in his 20s, so
Yes,
he's the last.
yes.
It's not fair. We can't compare to that.
If you didn't run, what do you think you would do as a hobby?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Yeah, I would do more yard work. I'd get the watercolors back out. I'd still wanting to go hiking in the park and more kayaking. I'm sure I could find even more. Gosh, now my 83-year-old mom plays the pickleball all the time. Not during COVID, but yeah.
That's crazy.
So,
The genes in your family is just nuts.
yeah, so I'll always be busy. I'll always find things to do. If running isn't possible, there'll be something else that keeps me with friends. And I should have said biking. I'm sure I would bike.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And swim.
And
You
swim,
swim
of
a lot,
course,
too.
swim. Yeah.
Living on the lake, that's kind of like an inherent thing.
Yes. Yeah.
It just happens.
But I don't like fun swimming.
No, fun swimming. You like competitive swimming.
No, not competitive.
Oh,
I just like
you want.
a hard workout
Oh, okay.
swim.
Okay.
yeah.
None of this, let's play and sit on a raft. I want to swim.
That's my kind of swimming.
Yeah.
I like to sit on a raft. Yeah, that's funny. One of our last questions for you was going to be, what is next?
Yeah,
What's
what
the
is
next
next?
goal for you? What's more 50Ks, or do you have marathon goals, or perhaps a 50 miler?
50, 100 miler?
No. I have too much stuff to do at home. I do not. Yeah.
We thought Arlen might have tricked you into something.
No.
Okay.
If the house would ever get done, which it never will, if the children ever need me, which they always
Yeah.
will, maybe I could start training for 100 milers. But there's just so much I like doing. I don't want to have that all or nothing thinking. I've tried so hard to break through that so that it's not just all I do is run.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I want to enjoy all of life. And there's just so much to do. And, you have to admit, when you're training hard, the thought of, going and listening to music somewhere, or God forbid, when somebody in my house says, "Mom, do you want to go kayaking?" And I'm like, "No, I'm too tired." I mean, that's so horrible to say that. I don't want to be like that. I want to be able to say, "Sure, let's go." go.
Yeah.
You know, and but if you can get your legs back, I'm gonna say, can we break that 3-hour
Oh
marathon
my God, I hope so.
at Akron?
That would be fantastic.
At Akron.
At
At Akron.
See what she does for me, you guys? It's not
I want to break it
fair.
at Akron.
I know.
I want to break it at Akron.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, if they could just take out a couple more hills, I would be okay with it. Or I guess we just need to train more on the hills, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be awesome if we could do that.
Yeah. I know.
Okay, I'm in. I'm in for that one then, I
Okay.
suppose.
All right. Good. Good.
Thank you for taking the time to do this.
Oh,
This is
you're
awesome.
fine.
I'm sure everybody out there is going to have a ton of questions for you. So maybe we will put a little link after the video, and then if you guys have some more questions for Teresa, maybe we can do that on a long run and make her answer them while she's running, because she's very good at talking and running.
Yes.
So yeah, that would be fantastic.
Thank
So,
you, guys.
yeah, this was awesome.
All right.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Well, most runners in the Akron area already know that Teresa Ferguson is an amazing runner, but what they might not know is that she's also an amazing human being. So I met Teresa about 10 years ago at a local road race, and during some cool down miles, we discovered that we both live nearby, and so we've been running together ever since. One thing I love about Teresa is how humble she is. So she's like this fierce competitor, but at the same time, she is genuinely happy for all the runners out there. And it doesn't matter how fast or how slow you are, she's going to encourage you and want to hear your running success story. I know that she never lets me get down on myself, and she has her ways of reminding me what I'm capable of. She's pushed me through some pretty tough workouts, both on the track and on the towpath. And another thing I love about Teresa is that she will never bail on a run. There could be 3 feet of snow on the ground, a negative 20-degree wind chill, and she'll just show up with an extra 3 layers of clothes. Like, let's go, let's do this. I remember one time we had a long run scheduled, and I wake up and it's only like 40 degrees, but it is pouring rain, so just miserable. And I'm texting her like, are we still doing this? And she just knocks on my door with 2 ponchos in hand, and yeah, we're going, we're doing this. So she definitely inspires me to get my butt out the door. You learn a lot about someone during a 3-hour long run. And Teresa is not only a great training partner, but she's also a great friend. And one thing I know for sure is that she's not slowing down anytime soon.
It goes without saying that Teresa Ferguson is an amazing runner, but she's also an amazing person too. She's kind, she's genuine, and I am truly blessed to be able to call her a friend. I have learned so much from her throughout the years. I've learned about focus and determination and running smart. 3 years ago, I was getting ready to run my second Boston Marathon. I happened to be out on a run with her. It was going to be one of my last runs before the marathon. And I was going to make it my short run, but Teresa says, no, Marie, just make it your long run. Just get over and done with. So, of course, I did. And we're running along, and I mentioned to her that I was concerned about the weather. The weather had not been great the year before, and she said, why are you worried about the weather? There's nothing you can do about it. You can't control it, so don't let it concern you. And honestly, as simple as that sounds, it was really great advice, because it really worked to get something like that out of my head that I didn't need to worry about. And with her, I have seen such focus and determination on her face, and usually it's when I'm still running out and she's on her way back to the finish line. She's not worried about what's going on this side of the road or this side of the road. She's straight ahead. She's focused on that finish line. She's not going to let anything get in her head or get in her way of finishing the way she wants to finish. The other thing with Teresa is she runs pretty smart. I've seen her after she's had some injuries, and she's listened to her body. She does what she's supposed to do, and she works at it, and she knows she's going to come back even stronger. Teresa, you are the true face of perseverance, and I appreciate you so much. I appreciate all of your advice. I appreciate all the opportunities I've had to get to run with you. Keep doing what you're doing. I will keep running as long as I can keep running, because you truly inspire me.
I knew Teresa from back in the day. When I was younger, I'd be at my grandma's house, and I'd see this tiny woman running back and forth, pushing a double stroller, and I always thought it was so crazy. So fast forward, when I was older and running races, I heard her name all the time because she was always winning. And then my sister told me that I actually knew her. She used to run up and down Grandma's Road. So when I finally got to meet her, she was the sweetest person you'd ever meet. And when I started having kids, I always thought about,
pushing the stroller because I saw Teresa doing it and I knew I could do it and make me faster. Not sure if it even worked, but she always inspired me to always push the stroller and double stroller all the time. But if you ever get a chance to run with Teresa, definitely take it. She is the sweetest person you'll ever meet.
Hi everyone, it's good to be here. And yes, a quick memory about Teresa. She's been a good friend of mine for about 4 or 5 years now. It was great last year. We got to do some running together and she paced me at Mohican. And then I was pacing her at the Eagle Up Ultra, which was her first 50K. And it took some persuasion, but I got her to run her first ultra marathon. And she did awesome. She told me she thinks she can run maybe around an 8-minute pace. So I took off with her and I was trying to keep her close to that. But I kept telling her, Teresa, you're running 7:30s. You need to slow down. And she kept saying, okay, but the pace never slowed down. And we held a 7:30 pace all the way through the finish line. And it was great. She set the course record. In fact, she still holds the course record for the fastest time ever, male or female. So it was a great memory I have of her, and she's a great friend of mine and a lot of fun.
So what inspires me the most about Teresa is just how tough she is. She's the sweetest person, has a heart of gold, but she's just so strong and so tough, and she can fight through anything. She just has so much energy and so much fire in her, and you can see that on the race course. I mean, she is just focused and she's got a job to do and she's gonna do it. And I mean, that little lady, anything she puts her mind to, she can do. She's so impressive. I've known her now for 10 years probably, and we've been running and training together ever since, and every day she has inspired me, like running side by side, step for step. There's been plenty of times where I've wanted to give up, or I haven't believed in myself, or I thought, there's just no way, I just don't want to do this anymore. And she is the type of person that will not let you give up on yourself. And that is just something everybody needs in a friend or a training partner. She's just amazing, and we're lucky to have her. And unfortunately, she may be 52 years old, but she's not slowing down at all. And so we're going to be racing her for a very long time. But yeah, she's a pretty incredible woman. And I hope that this little video that we did gives you just like a small glimpse inside of her life and what she's like. And yeah, she's pretty awesome. I'm lucky to have her as a friend.
We all know Teresa Ferguson is an amazing runner, but she's also super inspiring as a fellow dietitian and a mom of 3. Teresa and I have been running together for the last couple of years, early in the mornings, and she's really been the one that's keeping me going. She even ran with me through my entire second pregnancy up until I think the day before I delivered. Super motivating, you know, kept me going, really kept me moving. But the coolest thing about Teresa is she's just so humble and down to earth. You know, she'll go out and win, you know, an Akron series race, totally wins, totally slays, you know, just does it as an awesome race, and we run together within the next couple of days. And before I can even ask her about her win or ask her more about her race, she's already asking me about my race. She just genuinely cares about people, and I think that's the coolest thing about her. She's not only just an incredible runner, but an incredible person inside and out.